A leap of faith. The first time I saw Falcon, I was amazed by the way people naturally gravitated toward him. For the rest of my first semester at college, I secretly crushed on him. But I knew that I would not stand a chance. It was not because he was straight. He was gay, and in fact one of the most popular kids in college. He was confident, stood for what he cared about, and was unapologetic. I was freshly out of closet and out of my first relationship, which had left fresh wounds. But then I saw him. I could not forget him. It was a pity that he did not know who I was, and he was in a relationship with another guy. We also ran in completely different circles, meaning that I was at the bottom of the food chain, and he was at the top. At our college, there was a traditional last week of college before people went home for a holiday. This was when students would have parties, wear funky clothes to class, and pull pranks on each other. By mid-afternoon, most people would be walking around with bottles of clear liquid, which the professors pretended not to notice. Since it was my first year, I was a bit shy about participating. It was during that week that my friends Stella and Andrew got some gin for us. From early in the morning, we were sipping our gin, and by the afternoon, we were giggling messes. We did not have any classes on that day, but we decided to go to the cafeteria, mainly because we were broke. We sat at the table with some acquaintances that we didn't know, and I noticed that most of them were out of their minds already. I also noticed that across the room from me, there was Falcon. I stared at him for a moment, too long before he turned away from the person he was talking to and stared at me. A peculiar expression flashed through his face, but I looked away. Someone came up with the idea to play Truth or Dare. That game, along with the Spin the Bottle, was very popular around the campus. And because I was silly and drunk, thus deeming myself brave, I agreed to partake. It was all fun and innocent until the dares got riskier and the questions more intrusive. Joanna, one of my acquaintances, asked me if I wanted to choose Truth or Dare. Everyone before me played it safe and chose Truth, but I was feeling like I was on top of the world, so I chose Dare. There were around 50 people in there, so it was easy for people to overhear conversations. "I dare you to kiss the person you find most attractive in the room," she said. The table beside us broke out in whistles and giggles. I glared at Joanna, but I stood up. Normally, I would have blushed and ran away, but I was feeling too brave. I got up and started making my way to Falcon's table, where they had stopped talking. I acted as if I was heading for Ryan, this other straight guy's direction. The look of panic on his face cracked everyone up. I rolled my eyes and turned towards Falcon. He was silent and looking at me with an unreadable expression on his face. We stared at each other for a moment. "Then, I guess you have to dare to carry out," he said. I was surprised that he would be this open, considering that he was in a relationship, but I kept that out of my mind. Leaned closer to him and kissed him. I pulled away quickly enough, but there were whistles and cheers everywhere. I loved how my college was so accepting of everyone, no matter their culture or gender. After the kiss, I just smiled at him and went to sit down. It was only later that what I had done sunk in. I hoped that his boyfriend Marcus would not be mad at me about it. The next day, most people, including me, were heading home. I stayed about an hour from campus, but had a room in a dorm because my parents wanted me to have the full college experience. And things were still awkward between us since I came out. They were not mad at me, just getting used to it. By the time the second semester had come around, I had still not forgotten the kiss. He seemed to have forgotten though, because he barely looked at me. At least I could say that I kissed my crush. But there was no potential for anything else to develop. About a week into the new semester, he spoke to me. "You good?" he asked. "Oh, yeah." "I like your bracelet," he said. "Thank you. I made it with recycled material," I responded. He was about to leave when he stopped in his tracks. "Hey, I'm organizing this charity event, which is mainly aimed at making the campus more environmentally friendly. If you ever have free time, can you help me out? Or could you just help by giving these flyers to some friends?" he asked, handing the flyers to me. I took his phone number and said that I would help him out. The biggest reason why I wanted to help was that I wanted to be closer to him. And so we started texting on that day, but it was mostly to do with the event. He was very friendly and open to suggestions, even calling me a very creative person. I was buzzing just because of that tiny bit of interaction. Over the next few weeks, we spent a lot of time together. In the beginning, all we talked about was the event, but as time went on, we became friends. He was very down to earth and paid attention to everything I had to say. It was during one day when we were finalizing the guest list that he brought up the kiss. I figured that he had forgotten my face, but I was wrong. "I was flattered that you thought I was attractive," he said. "Oh, the kiss?" I was so drunk. "I'm so sorry about that." I started to giggle every 2 seconds. The kiss was nice. You don't have to be sorry. It was just a game, he chuckled, showing off his dimples. Yeah, I hope I did not get you in trouble with your boyfriend. Oh, we broke up, he said nonchalantly. Because of me? I freaked out then. No, silly, we just wanted different things. We broke up a few days before you and I kissed, he clarified. I breathed a sigh of relief. The day of the charity event came, and guess who his date to the event was? It was just as a friend, but I still felt very giddy. My friends teased me a lot about it, as they all knew about my crush, but I did not mind it. I did not get any indication from him that he was interested, but I did want to get to know him more. The event was very successful, and he thanked me a lot afterwards. He was bouncing up and down like a little child, and he even kissed me on both cheeks after the event. My heart fluttered a bit after that, but I knew it meant nothing. He was just very happy. You are a blessing in my life, he said. You don't have to thank me. This is all you, I said. Oh, shut up and take the compliment, he rolled his eyes. But he stopped me by engulfing me in a bone-crunching hug. It was a lot different from how I first saw him. He was sillier and down to earth. He did not seem so untouchable anymore. After I had begged him to let go of me, he finally did. Let me take you out for a snack, he offered. It's late though. Are you sure that there's a place that's still open? I asked. I know a place, he laughed, tugging my hand. A few minutes later, we were at a taco stall just outside of campus. Many people were still awake and queuing. I discovered it on one of my walks. A lot of people coming from night shifts eat here, he said. So then we got our tacos and walked around, just chatting for about an hour. We got to talking about our childhoods and families. When did you come out? I asked. My mom knew before I did. When I was about 11 and did not like any girls in my class, my mom spoke to me about it and said that it was okay to who I wanted. As time went by and I discovered my attraction to guys, she was always there for me. What about you? He asked. I came out on my senior year. My parents were not super happy about it, but they said that they loved me. But I lost a lot of friends and got bullied after that. Oh, I also had bullies. I used to be so shy and I had a stutter. It did not help that from day one, I looked gay. Wow, you had a stutter? I would have never have guessed. I still do when I'm nervous, he looked down. I completely understand. Wow, I did not expect to know this about you. What did you think, Archie? He asked. That you were flawless, I said. I am very flawed. And I still like you, I said. We looked into each other's eyes, and then he leaned over and kissed me softly on the lips. A shiver went down my spine as we continued the soft kiss. We exchanged a smile before linking our hands, all the way back to campus. We flirted and kissed. By the time I got to bed, I could not even sleep. My day had been the best, and I could not wait until tomorrow. I woke up bright and early the next morning and put a lot more time into self-grooming than usual, because I wanted to look nice for him. Before heading down to breakfast, I sent him a good morning message. However, as I rounded the corner, I was confronted by someone coming out of his room. It was his ex-boyfriend, and his hair looked disheveled. A few seconds later, Falcon came out of his room. We locked eyes and I started walking faster. I could not believe that I had just been played. He called after me, but I was too upset to even look at him. He sent me numerous text messages asking to explain. What was there to explain when he had feelings for his ex? I should have known that I would never be able to compete with Marcus, who was much more popular and hotter than me. They had been together for several months, and I only hung out with him for a little while. To make matters worse, I was paired up with Marcus for one of the assignments. We also had another girl who was his friend, and all they did was talk about his relationship with Falcon. I was sick to my stomach by the time class ended. It did not help that he kept on looking at me with a mocking glance every time he talked about Falcon. We're both so career-oriented, you know. The ultimate gay power couple, he said. My breakfast nearly exited my body when he said that. I did not even have the right to be angry. I'd been played. For the next couple of days, I avoided Falcon. I saw him looking at me sometimes, but I did not want to deal with him. It seemed like he wanted to talk to me even though I wanted nothing to do with him. I heard a knock on my door one night. Andrew, my best friend and roommate, was with his girlfriend, so I was alone. I opened the door, but I tried to close it when I saw who was standing there and looking at me. What do you want? I asked him. Nothing is going on between me and my ex. I can explain, he said. He was coming out of your room early in the morning and he looked like he slept there. Look, at least be honest with me. We never stood a chance, did we? He's a better match for you, I said. Look, I want nothing to do with him. He wants me back, but I don't want him back. He's the one that showed up at my house early in the morning, saying that he left something in my room, he said. He said you guys are a power couple. Look, I don't want to be in the middle of your drama. I don't want him back, I swear. He cannot let go of me. He never treated me like a boyfriend. I was more of a trophy. With you, it doesn't feel like that. He pleaded. I could see the hurt in his eyes, which made me believe him. I apologized for being so dramatic and invited him over. We did not do anything other than cuddle and watch a movie on my laptop that night, but it was comfortable. For the next week, we used any opportunity we got to hang out. There were a lot of soft kisses and tentative touches, but as time went by, I got more used to him. He was only my second boyfriend. My first relationship had been a whirlwind one that crashed and burned. I wanted to get to know him slowly and take our time falling for each other. I never felt like I had to change myself to be with him, and he would always be himself around me. His ex tried to cause trouble by trying to force himself into Falcon's life, but my boyfriend firmly told him to stay away from him. Eventually, he left us in peace. The honeymoon phase lasted for a long time, but it was not all perfect. See, I was still a virgin, and I had no idea how to tell Falcon. I was sure that he had tons more experience than me. Every time things between us got heated up, I would withdraw. I wanted to continue, but I did not know how. He picked up on how I was acting strange and confronted me. Archie, are you attracted to me? He asked one night, while he was lying on my chest. Of course, Falcon. I love you a lot. I laughed, was his response. And what is that supposed to mean? You pull away every time things get intense, he said. I was silent as I thought of how to tell him. Are you cheating on me? He asked. Gosh, no. Babe, I'm a virgin, I said. He pulled away from me and faced me. Oh no, I had no idea. It's okay if you're not ready. I am, I just don't want to disappoint you because I have no experience, I explained. Hey, I do not mind. Love you. He put his forehead to mine and looked at me. I felt so much more at ease after that conversation. That was not the night that we were intimate for the first time. It was 2 weeks later, after a date night. We went to his room because his roommate was not present. We made out for a while and soon the desire took over me once again. This time I did not stop it. I let go all of the control I had and gave in to him. His kisses felt like fire on my skin, but I was willing to burn for him. He was gentle with me throughout the whole experience. I felt so much closer to him than ever before. After we had reached the highest point, we laid in each other's arms for a little while longer. How do you feel? He asked me. Happy. How do you feel? I asked him. He tilted my chin up so I was looking into his eyes. In love with you. I never thought someone like you would ever fall for someone like me, I confessed. Why not? You're so cool and I'm not. Stop talking nonsense or you'll regret it, he said in a dangerously low voice. I swallowed, starting to feel something deep inside me. He leaned in closer, then started to kiss my neck. Then, when I had melted into a puddle of wine, he attacked me. My laughter filled the room as he tickled me. I was not fast enough for him, and we went on like that for a while. The tickle fight turned into a pillow fight until we were both too tired to move. You're pure evil, I gasped breathlessly. How so, my dear? First, you gave me lots of pleasure, now you made me breathless, I laughed. That's it, he said. That is what? I asked. The reason I fell for you, it is because I can be myself with you, and you allow me, he said. We ended up falling asleep in each other's arms. That night was a turning point in our relationship. I'd been having doubts as to why he loved me, but now I realized that I had to stop obsessing over unnecessary things. That dare had been the blessing in disguise, and if I was given the choice, I would have done it all again. The end. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force and stay wholesome.